Okay guys, we'll be handling functions and conditional statements in PHP. Now when we talk about functions, we talk about a block of code, okay, that carries out a particular instruction when it is called. Now it is a block of code that is inside the PHP program. It is either the PHP file, but it doesn't run until it is called upon. Okay, so it will be a function that can do. In fact, that is where the power of PHP lies. Okay, you can say, okay, the function add numbers, functions to compare numbers. It's executed when called. So for you to declare a function, use the keyword function. Okay, so use the keyword function, then the name. Let's say we want to print hello world. Okay, let's just use hello world. So we can just call it function hello. Okay, call the function hello. Then use your bracket parentheses. Okay, this is how to declare a function. So when you declare the function, then you put the block of code that you want to be executed. Now this is the function. We use this keyword to declare this function. Okay, then this curly braces here, these braces here we have is where we'll put the block of code. So we use the this hello world okay, so we have this. Okay, so now let's first run this code and see what happens. Okay, you see nothing happens even though we have a code here. We must call the function before it works. Okay, so now we call this function. See that upon calling the function, it carries out the instruction here which is to echo hello world. You can see that. So we called the function and now we have it right here. Okay, you can still add can say, okay, we want to have it here. I can say let's say my first code in PHP. Okay, my first code in PHP. Remember, you always save your work before you refresh. Okay, you can see. Then we use okay, so we use this break BR. This BR is for break. Okay, this is how you use to go to a new line, or you can the best practice is to use lowercase. Okay, so just like you use it in your HTML, so we're able to break this. Okay, so because we've called, now if we comment it out, remember I taught you about commenting, and refresh, nothing happens because we didn't call it. So a function is a block of code that is executed when called. Okay, you have to call it out first. Okay, so now we remove the comment. Now so it's running. Now this is this. Another type of function is the function with arguments. You can see that this bracket, there's nothing inside of it. Okay, so we just called the function and we just do something. But now arguments, when you add argument to your function, for instance, you want to compare two numbers, you want to add two numbers, you will need to put arguments where variables that will be used. Okay, we want num1 to subtract, or to be num1 to be subtracted from num2, so you need to put the argument right there. Okay, so this doesn't affect anything because it won't execute itself. It's not called, so we'll just, you can see. So what we'll just do here now is to declare another function. This function will have argument. Okay, so let's say a function that will add two numbers. Okay, so what we do is that we using the function keyword. Okay, so once you use this keyword function function add. Okay, now we said function with argument, so now we need to put arguments here. Okay, now for PHP the earlier versions of PHP, you don't need to declare a variable type. The value you assign into the variable will determine the type, okay? But from a PHP version 7, you can now declare, like, you can just say int num1. Let's say num1, okay? And use your comma to separate. So you can put as many arguments as you want. If you want to use a function that will compare 5 numbers, okay, that means you have to put 5 arguments, but we just want to add 2 numbers here. So you see that we have this, so we have num2. So you see that these 2 arguments as integer type. Okay, so what we'll do next is we put our block of code and we do the addition for us. Okay, so we have this. You can say use int declare. You can now say sum. Okay, because we are adding. You can say sum is equal to let's say num1 plus num2, right? Num2. Okay, then we want to echo result, so we can now echo the result, echo sum, which is the result. And we can add a string value. I'll just say the sum. Okay, sum is, okay, I'll just do something like this. Unexpected variable. Okay, so always pay attention to the error messages you get and fix them. Okay, so we are summing up num1 and num2, and then the result will be assigned into sum. Okay, and now I want to print it. I want us to call on this function. Now when you have arguments, okay, it means when you want to call the function, you're going to put the values there. Now we're adding 2 numbers, right? So you can see it's showing you to add number 1. So you're going to put the parameter right here, the numbers that you want to be added. Okay, so I want to add 12. Okay, and I want to add, you can pay attention, I want to put the value of num2, and remember it's an integer value. It should be an integer value. Okay, I want to add 12 and 8. Okay, that will give us 20, right? So let's see the result. So right here you see the sum is 20. So you see that we've just created a function, so we can say, we can even echo the 2 anywhere we want. Now let's echo this, let's call this hello as well. It's right here. So we don't really need to do it this way since this is already a string, so we just add it right here. Okay, so we add this break line, this, so we can go to a new line. Okay, so see this, so we can see, decide to comment this out. By the time we comment this out, only this one will show, only this one will call. If we decide to comment this and call this, you see, so this is how you can declare as many functions as you like and use them anywhere in your code. Okay, in fact, in PHP you can have a PHP file where you put all your functions and then include that file in every other PHP files. Okay, so that you can just be calling them. Okay, you want to have a function for addition, function for subtraction, function for whatever you want to do. Just have one file, one, like as we have PHP index of PHP here, you just filled up with functions, and then we can start calling them in another page, but we'll do that later as we advance in this classes. So don't get yourself bothered about that. Okay. So you see, here is function without argument. Where this is function with argument, and you see that we can now use data type. Yeah, from version 7 of PHP, we can now declare variables with data type. Okay. So this is that about variables. You can even compare numbers. Okay, you can do comparison, but before we put comparison in our function, I want us to handle if statements. Okay, so what we'll just do right here is, remember that we can even remove these ones, no need having them as a comment. Remember that our function does not affect anything, so long as you don't call them, nothing happens. Okay, so let's now go ahead and see how if statement works. Now, if statement is you having a condition, say, okay, if this is equal to this, if this is true, if a particular condition is true, do certain things, and if it's not, do this other thing. So that is just a condition. Okay, like every other thing, like when you say if there is food in the house, then everybody should eat. If there is no food in the house, everybody should go hungry. So that is the condition. Okay, so let's see how this works. So just like you trying to declare a function, so you put the word if, and you also put your bracket. So this is where you put your condition. Put the condition here. Okay, let's say if we want to put the condition right here. Now, when you are putting a condition, when you are checking if the value of anything is, so what we do is we say if this is equal to name is equal to, now let's put a particular value here. Let's say if name is John. So if name is John, okay, what should the condition be? What should the action be when name is equal to John? Okay, so when name is equal to John, I will say, okay, echo welcome John Cena. Okay. Okay. Then there also has to be an else. Okay. So this time around we have else if, we have if, else if and else. Okay. So but I want us to just use if and else for now. Let's just use if and else for now. So else. Now else, you don't need to put the condition. Else simply means if this condition is not true, do this particular one. Okay, so we can now say else echo can say echo what, this is not John, this is not John Cena. Okay, so let's see what now happens. So what we'll do here is we'll assign a value into this, so we can call it James. Okay, so we'll declared this variable and call it James. Okay, and then this conditional statement says, there's a condition that says if name is equal to John, welcome John Cena. Okay, else this is not John Cena. Okay, so let's see what happens right here. It's normal that you will face error when you're writing your code. Okay, but just pay attention to what the error is saying and make correction. Say syntax error, unexpected token, expecting comma, and terminate at line 22. Okay, yeah, I see that we didn't terminate this place. Okay, terminate. So that was just the error. So you see the errors on most times they are easy to find. Okay, that's why you're expected to run each line of code so that you're able to fix them. Because when you have bulky code and you're seeing plenty errors, you might start having you might get tired to fix them. Okay, so let's see if there's any other error or if it's going to run. Okay, now we don't have any other error. So this is not John Cena. Wow, you can see, because now we have name as James and it has checked and this is not James, and it's telling us that this is not John Cena. Now what if we now change this name to John? Okay, now we have John. What happens? Welcome John Cena. I see that I've checked now, and the name is equal to John, or the name is John. Now see the difference. There's now this sign, this single equality sign, is it's called an assignment. Okay, assignment symbol. That is, it assigns whatever we have at this right side to what we have at the left. Okay, so it assigns the result that we'll get from here into this. So it's called assignment. Okay, why this is comparison. It checks. So it checks if what is here is what is here. If what we have here is the value in this variable, notice the variable and this is a value. Okay, so it checks if this value here is what we have inside here. So let's take note of this. The assignment and the comparison, the checking, checks if this value is what is inside this variable. Okay, so you can see what we've just done. It has been able to check this condition. So, and many more. There are a lot of things you can actually do. Okay, let's put this if statement in a function. Let's put it in a function. Now, since we now have an understanding of what if statement is, now there's a way we can put it in a function. So we know that that function is to compare, also check if name is John and print. Now let's put that into a function. Now, so this is a section we will have a function. So let's declare a function right now. So call, remember the keyword function. And please remember that functions are not case sensitive. So we can even decide to use uppercase like this, and it will still work. Okay. Can you see? So in PHP, functions are not. If you go back to our very first class, why you must study PHP in 2023, you see that functions are not case sensitive. So we can call this one compare. Let's just call it compare. No. Since we're not comparing with this one, so let's just say checker. Let's just call it checker. Okay, you can actually call it anything, but make sure the name you're using is actually relevant to what the function should be. Okay, so now we need, remember this particular one, we need an argument which is name. Okay, we need an argument which is name. So what we would now do is this if statement here, we'll move it into so we now have this if statement inside this function. Okay, so we don't need this declaration here. Okay, so what we just need, you can see this color. So this yellow shows us the code block inside this function. Remember, after a function, you have the block of code. So we are nesting our if statement into this function. So we just nested the if statement we have into this function. Okay, so what this simply means is that when we call this function, it will now check if it is John and print this, and if it's not John, it's to print this as a function. So this way, if you run this code right now, one wouldn't call anything. See, there is nothing. So our if statement will not give us issue now. But if we just keep it outside, just like that, then when you run your code, it will be here whether you want to run or not. Because it's now inside a function, so we have to call the function before it works. Okay, print. Let's say function. Call this one function one. Okay, so now what we'll do is we want to call this checker. Okay, then we will now put the value. So let me put James here again. So if I put the gems here and run this code, okay, we need to terminate, remember, so we don't have an issue. And this gem should be in quotation, okay, should be in quotation, okay, because it's a string, it should be a string value. So now we run it, tell us this is not. Now you can see that this function calls the if statement. It calls this. This function call comes here and then goes into this if statement that is right here. So we can actually move this so we can see that it's right inside this place. Okay. Now you can see that just function now. It now checks. Now you can see put this one as John. Okay. And run our code. Can you see? So you see, you can actually put your if statement into a function as well, and I think it is better in the sense that it won't have issue, it won't affect your code. Okay, now you can see the lines of code that we have, but it's just one line that is running. Okay, but assuming we just skip hello world, my first code in PHP, we just leave them all on the file like that. When you run your code, everything will just be on the screen. Okay, so by the time you use function, you call what you want when you need it. At any part of the code that you need it, you call it and you use it. Okay. The next video, we'll go further to do maybe comparison. We're going to compare using if statements, and we're going to put inside a function. Okay, so the if statement will be there, but it's going to be inside a function. So we'll only call a function, just like how we called this one right here. Okay, and we'll be able to see how that works. Okay, so remember to like. If you have issue, you have a challenge, leave it in the comment section, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't, to get more of our updates. Okay, to get more of our, to be among the first persons that will be notified when we drop a post. Okay, see you.